Holy, 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 Alleluia. Holy Jesus, praise Jesus, Alleluia. Oh, there you are.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Good morning to you.
I just realized like a minute and a half ago. Oh, the link.
Oh, bless your heart. Bless
I
your
was
heart.
like, I had a
Okay.
bunch of stuff happen this morning. I was trying to do what I could.
Well, I just saw what you sent over.
Oh, yeah, it's just endless.
Okay,
It's
I'm sitting down. I got my cup of coffee. I'm sitting down.
I guess we'll start with the journals.
I'm gonna. I should have.
Share.
I should have arranged to keep my TED. I'm telling you.
Well,
So
yeah, like Michelle just is bombarded. I'm
yeah,
blown
there. Oh
away.
gosh, her situation. Oh, it's driving me nuts.
I know. She sent me a text that because we were supposed to work yesterday and sent me a text that after the thing with I forget his name, Jason. I don't
Yeah,
even want to give him a name with the criminal
yeah, absolutely.
that she had to deal with the cops and try and find a food bank and she wasn't being successful with either. And I'm like, a food bank? And so I said, okay, you know what? I'm sending you some money. So stop worrying about a food bank. And I sent her a couple $100. I said, I want you to buy $100 worth of meat, Ziploc bags, and freeze it so you have it. And then the other 100 on whatever food you want. And it was a big, long pause. And I said, just accept the gift, Michelle. We have it to
Right.
give.
That's fine.
Just
Yeah.
accept it. And then by about 5 o'clock, we chatted for about 2 hours, just chatted about stuff. And plus, Ariane
Yeah.
emailed me.
Oh, good.
So I gotta say, I was like instantly nervous. Oh my
Oh, bless
God,
her.
my
Oh,
parts
yeah, it's
went out.
Ariane. Ariane.
Ariane, all went into panic mode. And
Oh,
after about an hour or two, everything calmed down, and was laying down in bed, and I thought, well, how can I help? Because her thing was, John and I have talked about that I have parts. He knows I have parts. I know how do you get in touch with them? And all of a sudden I clicked. Oh, I know how to guide her.
and
And
Diana, she was so excited at the prospect of talking with you.
oh, good. Yeah, that's going to be next weekend. We did an email back and forth. Um, but I realized, and I was telling Michelle this as we were just chatting away. I said, "Oh, I'm nervous. My parts got all flipped out." I said, but it suddenly clicked on you. Do you remember that point where I got to after, I don't know, 30 or 40 repressed parts? And I came up with a name for all my conscious parts, plant, video, cook, my, the wife part, all these parts that I have. And so I gave them existence and put them on there. And I thought, well, if I was in a place where I didn't remember, obviously you don't remember the repressed, but I thought, why don't I just have them focus on giving names and images and give existence and reality to their conscious parts, the parts they know about,
That's
because
right.
we all switch between them all day.
Absolutely, we do.
You
That's right.
wake up, you're the wife, you handle the
We're in
wife
these
stuff.
modes, right? We're in these
Right.
modes.
And I'm like, well, you're switching all day between all and I was listing this out to Michelle, thinking, I get up and I do the wife part, I do the dog mother part, feed the dog, get the coffee ready for Chris, and then I handle the house, I open the curtains, and then I sit down and Chris and I chat. And if I know he's going to be here for a while, I say, well, I'm getting a little bored. Let me go water my plants. I switch into plant mode for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I sit down and I'm back to the wife part. And then, he gets up to go to work and I switch into the John part, which is working on my stuff, and if I need to make a video, then I'm switching into video part. And I thought, well, why don't I just have them start there,
Perfect.
make
Perfect.
PowerPoints, give them reality, get them familiar with distinguishing between the different parts and how smoothly they operate together or don't, you know, and and go from there. And I think by giving them reality, the other parts below are going to see that and go, wow, look at the time and attention she put into that.
There you go. Good.
And then, Michelle told me that she's got, I don't know, 4 or 5 or 10, I don't remember, parts that are, she remembers abuse stuff. And I said, well, then we'll focus on those next. But let's just do the easy stuff first. And I also had her start building her ideal play, my Lake City, the place, I've always wanted to live in a log cabin in the mountains. And so before all the chaos happened, that's what we were doing was, so we're just going to go into Google Images and collect images. Where was your all-time dream place to live? Pick out houses with 10 bedrooms, 20 bedrooms, 4, 2, 1, whatever. So we have to build a city for them have a place to go. So I thought that's how I'm going to start with people, I think, is create the place for them to go where it's safe and then interact with the ones you know. And I think simply in doing that, the other stuff will come up because that's how it works for me. And I did another experiment. I remembered a part called or oh geez, I'm like 5 days ahead of this. Anyway, Camp Pendleton, I had some memories, but I didn't have names, ages, really a place. So I did that experiment again. I just put, okay, well, I'm going to call you this until you tell me your name and all that, and put it through all my PowerPoints. Well, guess what? It filled in. And that's
Wow.
what all this is. So
Oh
I
boy.
thought, well, that works. It works. So the 7th, I'm lying here cold again. I was just remembering that bath of ice. I remember standing up when the matron was looking away. She came over and smacked me on the right butt cheek and told me to get back in the water. I remember that because I had a body memory and my right buttocks is clenching on and off. I was in there about 20 or 30 minutes. Finally, the matron said, he's ready for you. I stood up and I was shaking all over. My teeth were chattering in the water and out of the water. She gave me a white robe from the closet, and once I was dry, she took the robe away and sent me into the room with Gerald Ford. He said, don't be shy and pat the bed. He was standing. I walked over and sat on the bed, shivering. He said that was perfect. Told me to get on my hands and knees, then took off his robe, smacked my right butt cheek as well. He said something like, gotta keep you nice and tight. Then he raped me. This I love. I remember his penis was very small, which I was actually quite glad about. He smacked my right butt and thigh many times. I believe that was to make my muscles clench up around his penis. As I'm dictating this, my right butt and thigh keep clenching. He also did slap me, correction, backhanded me across the right jaw when I turned around and looked at him. He told me not to look at him. He said, I'll do all the looking. I disassociated and just was staring at the pillows and mattress. I just kept thinking, hurry up and get this over with. As my body was warming up, I was starting to overheat. I was sweating. My hair was sticking to my face as he raped me. And to this day, I can't stand my hair on my face. I can't. I remember kind of chuckling that he probably thought the sweat was from raping me, but I knew it was from the temperature change. He really was quite pathetic sexually. When he was finished, he stood up off the bed, getting off his knees behind me. He put his robe back on. He opened the door and the matron came back in. He said, she will do. Make sure she's ready for Finland. The matron waved me to come over to her. She took me back to the bathroom, put a lukewarm shower on me. Then she gave me my clothes back. She led me out to Jack, who flew me back home. Jack took me through tunnels under the White House to a helipad and then flew me back to school, Sisters of Notre Dame. I'll just oops, do that. Darn it. Dad drove me home from there. I'm still
And I'm
cold.
sorry so all of a sudden it occurred to me. So that incident took place in the White House?
Yes. Yes, yeah. It'll fill in a minute. Um, and I still, so I'm coming back to present time and then dropping back down. He said, "Have Susan get her up to snuff. I'm going to be using her in Finland." The matron nodded. I was chilled the entire flight back home. Jack called me his world traveler several times. He said, "Now you're really going to get to see the world." On the way into the tunnels, Jack had me, but now this is going into the White House. Jack had me by the hand and was walking quickly. I was busy looking around and I tripped. He pulled my arm up and kept me from falling. "Come on now, no mistakes. Got it?" He said, "You'll be the Ice Queen tonight." I just walked on with him. Before he handed me to the matron, he lifted up three fingers like this. I believe this was an indication of which sex slave was to be activated. I saw the fingers and looked up at him and shook my head up and down. He told the matron I was ready. She took me down the tunnel, up the stairway, through the doorway. The doorway opened up into the bathroom where I would sit in the ice tub. So now these tunnels, this stairway went right into a bathroom. It didn't go into a hallway or anything. So it was designed and set up to start there for me. As Jack and I were leaving, so now we're leaving. As Jack and I were leaving, Kissinger came through a doorway and stood in front of us, and we're in the tunnels. He had a file in his hand and he smiled, and Jack shook his hand. He had on khaki brownish trench coat. It was not buttoned up, it was open. He had a suit underneath it. He handed Jack the file, turned and walked away. They didn't even speak to each other. Just that smile in passing the file. Kissinger walked down the tunnels in one direction and we went another. There was an echo in there. And I also remember it was moist. Not hum. There was moisture. I think it was raining outside. I remembered that later. The bathroom was pretty sparse except for the tub, which was freestanding and a long bench against the wall with closets or lockers. The room was gray tile all around. The tub was another shade of gray. The room itself was very cold as well. She had me put my things in one of the lockers. When I left, she had it all pulled out of the locker, folded up and stacked on the bench. The bench was lacquered wood with metal gray legs. That room seemed to echo as well. The room was like a monogram gray, except for that brown bench. So imagine this whole room with different shades of gray, and then this brown bench. It's like it was floating in space. But it had legs. It's just all the gray made it kind of disappear. She brought me a grilled cheese sandwich and a small bowl of tomato soup and said this should warm you up a bit. I ate it alone in that room on that bench after I got dressed. I felt very small in there. It's funny, that's exactly what I had for dinner tonight. Not a usual meal, but I had seen a commercial last night and did not want to cook tonight, so that would be simple. I made tomato soup and grilled cheese because I saw a commercial, and it's the same day that I had this memory having the same meal. There was another time that I went through the tunnels under the White House with Jack. This time I was led to a room with a desk and a chair in it. I believe this was his personal room. Ford was sitting at his desk and told me to undress. Then he put his foot up on the desk and said, "Get to business." So I walked over and got between his legs. His penis was the size of a small boy's penis when fully erect, perhaps 2 inches long and half an inch wide. I remember I kept expecting it to get larger, but it never did. I didn't know what to do with it. He wanted me to smack it around, so I did. Later in life, I dated a man who had the same tiny sized penis. I was in Germany and he was one of my boyfriends. Correction, a one night stand. I remember giving him a blowjob and having to hold back laughter. I did not want to embarrass him. And now I'm back to present time, getting hungry. So I'm sitting here eating a snack. I'm remembering this right after putting, and now at night when I get hungry, I'll make myself wait a half hour, an hour to make sure it's not a part trying to suppress something. And so if it's still there, I'll finally let myself go have a snack because I have other parts that start flipping out because they're hungry. So I remember eating the snack. I remember this right after putting in four more parts that I will call incomplete parts, another experiment to see if it would trigger my memory, and it did. Because what I called it was White House. And ultimately, I fleshed out the part's name is Ice Queen. The funny thing is that this time I was not drifting off to sleep. I just suddenly started seeing this one part called White House unfold. I realized that her name is Ice Queen. I wonder if Betty Ford, now I don't know where this thought came from, but I wonder if Betty Ford, who was doing drugs and was an alcoholic at the time, was actually an ice queen to him sexually. Therefore, he brought in children to fit his small penis and substitute his wife, the Ice Queen, with children who he called Ice Queen. I don't know where that idea came from, but I thought I would just record it. The matron told him his Ice Queen would be arriving soon, so she took me to the gray bathroom. So I think Ford was expecting his wife to be gone, had me in his office, so to speak, that was in his personal quarters, maybe personal quarters, but it wasn't the Oval Office. And now all of a sudden his wife's coming home and oh shit, you gotta go because the real Ice Queen's coming. So that's kind of the context for that.
Yeah, well, I also think she sensed the degree of deviance of the guy.
Oh, I never even thought of that because I just
Yeah,
figured,
it's interesting because most people, if I hadn't worked with the perps in prison, I would have assumed. And one of the perps tried to make, as a matter of fact, a pedophile. He tried to use that example, saying, "Well, I think it's because I have a small penis," and so he tried to use that as an excuse. But it's the deviance that the worse they get, the more they want to defile innocence.
yeah, I didn't even put that together. I just assumed because Ford and Susan, his daughter, were deviants. He's got like three sons as well. I don't have any memories of them, but I just assumed that his wife, because she's dancing on the White House table, I figure she's got some level of deviance herself, but maybe not. Who knows? And then this was the other experiment part, poppy flower, oil and fat man. That's all I could remember at this point in time. So I put that in my stuff. And then Norwegian, photos, blowjob, anal rape. So I was like, okay, so things are starting to fill in for these parts that I was doing the experiment. And then Poppy Flower was made to put oil all over herself, and the fat man would be lying on the bed. He would slide her all over his fat belly and then put his penis in her. So he would like slide me up and down and then like cock my hips and, there's that. But this all came from because I remember Poppy Flower because I watched one of our old episodes and I happened to say Poppy. And I thought, is that a part? And the minute I thought that, I thought, oh, write it down. And then I knew the Norwegian came because I had an image of him. And then the White House. I knew there was something going on with the White House. And so that was it was like four experiments, what I call, let's see what happens parts. And all of them filled in. And it was all from putting them through the charts and documents. And I guess at the age, I guess I give them all a -5 because I figure, okay, it's in the middle of, 1 to 10, because you never know how, who, what, where, when, why, and just a vague location. But in doing that, it's like it gives the parts permission to say, "Oh, look at that, I got existence. I got a new picture. I got a new name, blah, blah, blah." And they go, okay, I'll tell you some stuff. And it's working. It's working. This is the second time I've done it.
Phenomenal.
I know. So I'm excited to have other people get to this point. So the next day, I just saw something very bizarre, and the words movie production studio popped into my head.
Oh,
Oh, and
good.
the other
I'm sitting
part,
down.
the other part that was an experiment, or I should say a whisper, I'll call them whisper parts, was Mission In. Because in that same session I watched with you, we were talking about the Mission In, and something at the time you and I talked, I was like, no, nothing. But when I rewatched it, I had a reaction, and I went, ooh, let's go look at some images on Google. And I did. And I found an image that just like four or five, like a lobby, inside, outside, a lobby, a stairwell, something else. So I captured all those images. And I said, okay, I got a part called Mission In. Maybe it's a whisper part. So I was like, that would, and so after I did that, now this comes. Movie production studio popped in my head. So, it's totally different thing. It's my brain's starting to float back and forth, and it's not even as I'm drifting anymore. It's just as I'm laying there, my brain's active. So, Nurej, what I saw was a man on top of a lighting fixture that was movable. The lighting fixture was probably 3 or 4 feet in diameter. I shouldn't even say a man, a creature, because it wasn't a man. Do you know
Okay.
those big lighting fixtures that are like maybe 4 feet deep, 3 feet in diameter, huge light that's on the arm, and the arm bends, and so you got the light that can move around on a stage,
Yeah.
right? Well, what I saw was that light, but there was a man or creature hung onto it, like its arms wrapped around the top of the light and its body lying on the arm, and it's just going around like this. Like a dome that was connected to an arm that bent and moved. Something you might see in a movie studio. The thing is, the man was on, say, creature. It was like a stick creature, like a stick figure. The creature was on top of the light with his body lying on the movable arm. And as the light moved, so he's wrapped, his arms are wrapped around this light. And it's like a demon saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna light all this up." It was like an entity on the arm of this thing with his arms wrapped around the light. As the light moved, the creature moved with it. It was moving from a higher position down to a lower position and put the spotlight on me. This creature wasn't really a person. It was more like a very thick stick figure. And the closer that it got to me, the more I noticed that its face was demon-like. It was smiling and grinning as it approached with its light. It's almost as though this demon was attached to the light and greedily absorbing or taking an energy of the thing that the light was illuminating, which would be the different children or people who are being abused. So that's interesting. I don't know. I get the impression that I'll just put this on here now. This is like the mission in part, which I thought maybe it was in Europe, but right now I'm understanding that it's in California. Associated with the mission in, or maybe an actual movie production studio. I don't know, probably the studio. Yeah, okay.
Oh, there was that. What's the name of it?
So I've got a whisper part right now called studio. What were you gonna say?
Um, in the canyon. What are the hills?
Laurel Canyon?
That right? The studio. I didn't know
Oh, maybe so.
that apparently, a number of rock stars, their parents were CIA and
Yeah, I read Alan talked about it a little bit, and Melissa did a very long article on it a couple years ago, and I had read other stuff. It was like a series on Laurel Canyon that someone online was doing, except it was in article form. And there's a lot of twisted stuff that went on there. I mean, Charles Manson and that whole thing
yeah, that's
was
right.
there, and all connected with actors, actresses, and drugs, and I'm sure pedophilia and child trafficking. So yeah, so we'll save that. So
Yeah,
these
Laurel
the
Canyon.
yeah, the whisper parts started to give me their story. And it's all, I guess, because as I put them through my series of stuff, it's like I'm saying to them, I heard your whisper, and I want you to come talk to me. And it doesn't happen until I put them in the paperwork. And they go, okay, I'm real now. Okay, she believes that I'm real. Doesn't have the right name or the age or the impact, kind of a location, but I'm real. So let
They
me
they
see.
want to know if you're serious and if they will be accepted or rejected based upon if
That's
they
exactly
move
it.
forward.
Or am I
That's right.
gonna
That's
push
right.
you away and go, oh, there's no way?
There you go. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So these were the parts that remember the part that was called Shooter Six?
Hmm.
Had to do the shooting. Well, I remembered another piece of her. And when I went in to record it, I realized in some places I called her Shannon, and in some places I called her Sharon. And I was like, why would I do that? And all of a sudden she said, well, because I had to split. There's
Yeah,
two of us. Sharon is the one who trained and got to a certain level. Yes, she had to kill people from a distance,
I remember that.
whatever. But to graduate that class, I had to shoot another boy that I trained with who did not do well. I had to shoot him between the eyes like Hitler would do.
That's just like on the Manchurian Candidate.
Right? And so that one's called Shannon. And so they started differentiating it. No, I'm Shannon, that's Sharon. No, I'm this. And so I had to go through all my paperwork and fix it all. So Shannon and Sharon both have problems with their nose, mouth, because of smelling the gunpowder, and wrists from shooting guns. They could smell and taste the gunpowder, and it hurts the wrists, the recoil, and the recoil hurts the wrists. Shannon says that the stress of shooting someone really exhausted her, and that also a picture was taken of her doing it. Now that's like the graduation picture. Also, we'll put grad, or we'll put, no, they're saying it's a completion picture was taken of her doing. Shannon was also worried after she had shot that boy that God would never forgive her, that she was lost to God. And now these are the other shadow parts. Wilma was White House. Nissa and Nicolette, I had already created parts for with the wrong original name, but now I had the correct original name. So I just went in, they kept their new name. They just said, no, we just want you to fix what our original name was because you were guessing. I was
Yeah.
like, okay. So that was fun. Whose old names were guesses, and now I have the correct names. Wilma Whitehouse is telling me that the tunnels were damp and echoed. Also, that Jack held her by the hand. No MK Ultra, just that Jack used hand signal three fingers. That it was night and she was tired. The usual trigger words, phrases, and symbols and rules for all three parts. And now this
Oh,
is Shannon coming back at me. I guess I should put this here. Shannon. I have the song going through my head. Shot through the heart and you're to blame. You give love a bad name. And I thought, well, it's not necessarily Shannon. I later discovered it's Kira. But Shannon remembering shooting someone triggered Kira, who was raped by the mobster grandchildren. That was another song played during that night. Shot through the heart and you're to blame. Not that they shot me or shot anybody else, but it was a song playing when Kira was being abused. So Shannon popping her head up allowed Kira to give me more parts. And I know for certain that these parts, they know about each other. They're not as isolated as you think they are. They're isolated, but if there's a common thread,
okay.
it connects. Um, and what happened was I said, well, when was this song? I looked up when it was released. And it was released a couple years before that mobster thing. And I thought, well, was that going on with you, Eden, Kira, Vivi? Because there were the three parts there. And Kira's like, yeah, that was what was played when I was having a broomstick shoved up her butt. I was like, that's fabulous. Okay. So I said that popped into my head when I was doing Shannon's records. Also, again, while I was brushing my teeth at that time, she told me that in this no, so this is in this competition, whoever did well shot the ones who did not do well. Even though they weren't friends, they were comrades, so to speak, trained together. And she liked that boy that she had to shoot. He was a nice boy. She's very sad about that. That's why she thinks God will never forgive her. And we did cry for a bit over this. I said there is bleed over between parts. My front personality at home was Pearl. But after Shannon had to shoot that boy, she was at home at night with the whole family. Mom was putting us to bed and she asked Mom to hold her for a while because Shannon was really sad. Mom said that she didn't have time for that. So Shannon got up and hugged her around the thighs and waist for a long time. Mom let her. Her heart hurt. Mom hugged her back, gave her a kiss, and put her in bed. I said today, and yeah, and today is the second anniversary of Mom's death, which I didn't even remember till I was lying down to go to sleep. It's like, oh, okay. So I cried a little bit over that. I don't mean to make light of it at all. Just
No,
anyway. I
yep.
cuddled and spoke with Sharon and Shannon, and they cried for a bit. I explained to Shannon the fact that she is sad and upset about killing that boy means that she has a good heart.
Oh,
And if
yeah.
she was not sad, that would mean that she did not have a good heart. I thanked her for what she did for surviving. Otherwise, I would not be here. And she really needed to hear that. I said, God knows your heart. If you weren't sad, I said, do you remember what Chris said to Joe when he was a little boy? Joe didn't want to take the fishing hook and put it through the worm. And Chris said to him, that just shows you have a good heart. You don't want to hurt something. So do you remember when Chris told Joe that? This other part's piping up, and they're like, yeah. I said, so it's the same thing. If you hurt and you're sad because you had to do that, that means you have a good heart. And she didn't know that. And so
Wow.
telling her that, she stopped crying pretty shortly after. She's like, well, yeah, I guess that does make sense, doesn't it? And I went, yeah, you have a good heart. You're not mean, cold, nasty. They made you do it. And that's why I acknowledged her for surviving.
Okay.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be here to be able to talk to her.
That's right.
Now time passes. Oh, this is as I'm drifting off. It
Oh,
was
God.
another one of those, image in the face, adrenaline surges. I haven't had one of those for quite some time. And I was
Now,
like, oh,
let me ask, Diana, you're just now calling it Wolf Man instead of Dog Man. Is there a difference?
yes. Whole
Oh, God.
nother chimera, whole different location.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah, and I gotta put him in too. I forgot. I was so occupied talking with Michelle. So there's Wolf Man.
Right there in my nose.
Oh my goodness, there was just a wolf man in my face snapping at me with his
Oh,
fangs right in my nose, right in my face. Another chimera. Huge surge of adrenaline. I believe that the Camp Pendleton tunnels has transhumans and chimeras. And yeah, so I'm drifting off again. Another huge surge of adrenaline with an image. This was oh yeah,
oh my
forgot
God.
about this till right now. I don't know what to call this. I guess we'll just call it the triples. Once you hear this. This was one person standing next to another body, except the second body had two bodies with one head standing next to one person. And the two body person and the one body person were connected telepathically. Somehow they all spoke in unison. So I guess I'm just going to call them the triples. Like, or maybe triplets. Triplet.
So almost these are like conjoined twins.
Yeah, maybe so, but isn't it usually two heads in one body? But I
No,
think it was
I've seen them.
triplets that maybe they separated. I don't.
Yeah, there's a couple of different. I've seen videos where, yeah, they are connected at the head.
Oh, really? I've never seen that, but maybe it was two heads with three bodies, and somehow they separated one, but they all spoke in unison. It was like a Borg. I won't. I don't call it a Borg, but it was really bizarre.
This is just like so. There's more to the story of Frankenstein than we even want to know.
Hmm. And you know that the Nazis did all that twin studies and all those experiments, so this didn't surprise me a whole lot. It was just shocking. And then suddenly having gastrointestinal pain, drifting off again. Huge adrenaline dump. Another image. I'm inside the tunnel looking out where the light is. I can see the ocean and a sailboat going by off in the distance. My legs are shaking a bit and my stomach is upset. Feel tingling along my back. Now, this is not time. This is just a separation of
God.
incidents. Oh, well, I guess not. Shannon is screaming at me right now that it's on her back. It's touching her. It's on her back. The wolf man. It's drooling down her shoulder and neck, hot and heavy panting. So I guess this is Shannon. Or Shannon splitting into the wolf man. Or into, that part. Now suddenly the area around my vagina is itching like crazy. I believe this creature raped me from behind in the tunnels under the Lion's Den by School Sisters of Notre Dame, that place where we did explosives and shooting and all that. So that makes sense because Shannon was, yeah, she was a shooter. She is screaming, "Get it off me, get it off me. It's a monster, get it off me." And so I did in my mind's eye. I said, "Here, it's gone." So I'm screaming and screaming, running around trying to get away from it. It's chasing me all over this cave system, but it caught me and raped me. A little bit of time passes, so the number 13161 just popped into my head. And right now I'm realizing it was printed uh, in on the wall of the tunnel I was in. And then the song that shot through the heart was playing during Kira's rape with the mobster grandchildren, and then I finally dropped off to sleep. It's like, and once my adrenaline kind of calmed down, recorded all that stuff, I was like, wow. So that's what you get when you record what did I call them? Shadow? No. Whisper part, a whisper part.
Okay, there we go. That's a good put, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
whisper part. Yeah, okay. So, it's like I'm trying not to rush, but I have so much I want to show you otherwise. So this is last night, and most of it this morning. Jack would let me sit on his lap and hug and kiss him and be, I don't know what this means or and hard to hurt. I don't know what that means. Kisses would be French kisses too. This is when I was 8 and 9 years old. Then he would rape me, and I would think it was making love. Afterwards, then I would get to lay next to him and cuddle. So I realized this is his trauma bonding stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm reminded of that. I am reminded of that other memory that I had a while ago about finding Jack in bed with someone else and feeling betrayed. There was another person cuddling with Jack. I think it was a boy, if I remember right. That's when I knew it was all lies. So this whisper came weeks and weeks ago, and I didn't know what it applied to. But until that happened, I was his girl, his woman, he said. And I believed him. I thought he was my protector and hero. He was anything but. When Jack raised his three fingers in the tunnel, okay, he took another finger and crossed the three horizontally about a third of the way down. The amount of fingers indicated which sex slaves. It could be one, two, three, four, five, however many there were, but so far I know there's three. Or maybe just, I don't know. Maybe that meant sex slave. I don't know. The amount of fingers indicated which sex slave, and the finger across indicated if they were to be killed or not, and in what manner. So if there was a finger at the base of and crossing the vertical fingers, that meant not to kill. If the finger crossing is in the center at the knuckles, that means get information. If the finger was towards the top, that meant plant something in that person's home. If he took the fingers and slid the knuckles to the top and the fingers curled down, that meant assassinate. But the number of fingers that were raised indicated which sex slave. Gerald Ford was three fingers, so that meant female sex slave.
Daniel, let me ask, this just came to mind.
And this took a little while to fill out,
Oh,
and I
okay.
wasn't drifting. It just, the
So
narrator started talking to me.
I'm just this whole thing.
I know.
Okay, so I'll tell you what just came to mind, and I think of Major League Baseball as they're showing this, as they show a typical baseball game,
Yeah, with the this and that under
right? With the
for the
do you think, I mean, how can that not trigger people then?
I didn't even think of that, John. Oh my goodness, yeah. It must, yeah, it must. I mean,
So I
because
wonder if the initials MLB means something to
man
survive.
love boy,
Let's say it again.
man love boy, isn't there a pedophile group called
And well, North
Man
America.
Boy Love
Yeah,
and BL? You
yeah,
know
well,
that, right?
Angela, yeah, yeah.
MLB, MBL.
Oh gosh.
So maybe so.
Because I always see that. I mean, I don't watch much baseball, if at all, but
But that's
they always show it from behind the
the
pitcher.
catcher or the pitcher,
But
whoever.
as you were doing the three finger thing, I thought, well, I see that all the time. Now, again, they're signaling
The
to one
theirs is
another.
going down and mine was going up.
Okay, well,
But
but
who knows? Maybe boys get this and girls get this. I don't know. I just remember going, oh, well, that's just so simple. Okay, you're sex slave. Don't hurt them. Get information, plant information, or kill them. And it could have been get information and then kill them. Any combination of those. So yeah, I was kind of blown away that I started seeing this in my mind's eye and seeing Jack's hand do it. and the narrator telling me what each one meant. I was like,
Wow.
no, okay, I'll write that down. Thank
You
you.
guys are undoing all the work that they put into MK Ultra.
And
This is
I'm more and more certain that whatever is in the mind files is irrelevant.
correct. I
It's
agree.
irrelevant because you can undo it without knowing that.
There you
I
go.
was so wrapped up in thinking, oh, I got to remember what she said to me. I'm like, no, it's irrelevant. You don't even need to
That's right.
to map
They
that.
did that to add confusion
I
on
think
top of
so.
what's already challenging for a survivor to remember. So,
Well,
yeah,
and again, it makes me call into question Gray's motives because he put a whole lot of emphasis on this mind file business, and that's why I got all wrapped up in it. So I don't know. We'll see. And then this, I said I just saw a woman being given a shot in her upper arm near the shoulder. I thought that it was me, but the woman would have been too old to be me. So I think it was me, believing I was a woman. It was triggering a part that thought she was a woman. So the next morning, this morning, lots of dreams that I can't remember. Now I have lower back pain. So I'd been up for like a good half hour, feeling perfectly fine. But as soon as I recorded the fact that I had dreams I couldn't remember, now my back hurts. Sharp, sharp pains. I couldn't bend over. I could squat. I couldn't, even just to bend over to get a tissue out of a box, I couldn't do it. And I just put that together right now. It's fine until I recorded that my dreams I can't remember. And so as Chris and I are sitting there watching the morning news, there's a fire going on. He's got radios going as monitoring stuff because his boss called him at like 3:30 in the morning. Something happened in Ventura with this fire. So Jack was very hard when he thrusted and lifted my hips to his height. It hurt my back a lot. He said this is how women make love. I think it was to instill pain. I have to admit, through my life, when a man put his hands on my hips for leverage, it would increase my pleasure sexually. Jack would, and these thoughts are coming maybe every 5 minutes or so. Jack would always have a sweet for me afterwards, which explains why I bought a piece of cake last night and
yeah,
churros the day before.
sure.
So I did a TED Talk, and this is like hour and 15 minutes before our thing right now. So I just did a TED Talk and got rid of about 60 to 70% of the sharp pains. Still sore on my lower back, but I can bend over now. Jumped in the shower, and up until this point, I thought, "Fuck, I'm not gonna take a shower. I'm not gonna do anything. I can't. My back hurts." And I was like, "No." The TED part saying, "Get out there, beat on Ted, beat on Ted, beat on Ted." So I'll show you the TED Talk for that. Jumped in the shower, had a realization. Jack would call me his pearl. He said that since I'm doing womanly things now, that I was his woman, his lover. He said I was his pearl, his diamond in the rough. And I realized pearl is the new name for the part that I gave to my dad's lover. So I'm realizing, so pearl is not a new name. It was the name Jack gave me as the next level part after my dad's name for my dad's lover. So Pearl is another part, old name, not a new name for a different part. Now this happened with my dog part. Remember, I renamed dog Sweetie to realize that no, Sweetie is another part that split off a dog. And so I had to fix that way back when, and now I have to fix this today. And as I was writing that down and sorting it out before you came on, I realized Pearl was the lover to Jack. Pumpkin was the lover to my dad. And Diamond in the Rough is the lover to John C. Lilly. And I jotted that down real quick so I didn't remember or so I wouldn't forget. So I gotta sort that out.
So not only is John C. Lilly
But
work,
he did that trauma bonding too, with
yeah,
that
so
let me love and hug you and tell you you're great and I'm going to take care of you and you're my woman. all that. I
But
don't
in
have any
between
memory.
working with the dolphins, he's raping you.
Hmm. Let me just smoke that one. Sorry. So I'm gonna have to change all that paperwork. And I'll tell you, if you don't, if I were to not change the paperwork, I would be saying, you know what, you parts are not that important.
There you
And
go.
they would submerge again. So having, going through and fixing it and sorting it out, and just the process of doing it on a piece of paper with been, I had to buy an eraser just so I could, keep things straight. And they're like, no, I came first. They're second, you third. You got it all mixed up. And I'm like, okay.
Oh gosh.
And plus, right now, I can't even remember what Pearl's original name was, which once I looked, it's Pumpkin. I remember that. So I'm gonna have to sort all that out. But yeah, Pearl is the name I chose for myself because Diamond in the Rough seemed rough. And I figured that would be the part name for Dad's lover. But I realized when I wrote it down, no, that's for John C. Lilly, his Diamond in the Rough. I was Jack's Pearl and Dad's Pumpkin. It's like, great. But Pearl was lovely, and so that could be the part name for Jack's lover. And obviously, Jack gave me all of those names, but the one that I clung to was Pearl. So Pearl will get you existence and a new life, and the old part that was Dad's lover will get a new name, and we'll fix all that. So I was just saying, I'm just recording that. So I don't want to forget it. I don't want to push it down. You're important. It's just all those little things, it makes a difference. So I'll show you. Oh, I'll show you the sketches real quick. This is the Norwegian. He was the photographer in Europe for the pedophilic activities, but he also had us in some sort of studio. It might be, no, that movie production studio was in California, but I believe he had us in some sort of photographer studio, maybe his studio, and all the children that the dignitaries brought, he photographed, not with the dignitary, but just photographed, I think, for the dignitary, and also would rape us. But he had that kind of hair that, I'll show you. This is as close as I could get. I had to pull this up because I couldn't remember her name.
Boy, Diana, what just came to mind is world vision. So here, this idea of world vision, I remember as I was growing up, our family did a nice thing. We had, I think it was through World Vision, right? You could sponsor a child.
Yeah, this
And,
hair.
but now that I'm seeing this, what a perfect cover then for child trafficking, where you've got these pictures that
I'm gonna
detail.
sponsor this child. Remember Sally Struthers with those commercials?
Yeah.
And money for this child, and that child will send you a picture. Like, yeah. But this is what his hair was like, except visualize it blonder, longer, and more flung backwards rather than flung forwards. That was what I saw in my mind's eye. Not a very good picture, but, and he had very sharp features, real cut jaw and cheekbones. So there he is. And he had those eyes that were multicolored, blue, green, and brown. I think they call that pedichromia. And that's an indication that someone was either died and brought back or sent to the edge of death as a very young child. I think close to infants. That's what my part had to do for those rich people in doing those blood baptisms. When I did an elite child, I didn't kill them, but I took them just to the edge. Supposedly, they're supposed to have some near-death experience that opens up and increases their psychic abilities. That's the whole theory that I've read about. And I think I heard someone on Emma's program discuss that. So that's okay. That was the Norwegian sketch. And then
These
this
perps are
one.
then also looking at the eyes, and you can tell then.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't seen this. Let me show you these pictures on Google. Yes. It's considered um uh,
Oh
it
gosh.
is beautiful in some cases. It's very beautiful. Let me go to
But it indicates that there's been
it's a
trauma.
way that they can tell if you're a cult member. And heterochromia eyes, heterochromia eyes. You could have either one eye different color from the other, or in the eye itself has multiple colors. Like you see this one here, or this one, you've got brown, yellow. I guess this is a bluish gray. You've got all these. Is central heterochromia rare? And a lot of actors and actresses have this. I'm starting to discover. I mean, look at this, or even this. She's got just these spots through the eyes. Um, but yeah, I would have never learned about this if Emma hadn't interviewed this one woman, and I wish I knew who it was. But I'll put in actresses because I think it's more common. Oops. In oops, darn it. Well, you can see here. See how their eyes are messed up? Celebrities. They call it heterochromia ir, iritis. Mila Kunis has it. She's married to Ashton Kutcher, who's connected with P. Diddy.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Angelina Jolie. Do you remember her and her husband, Billy Bob Thornton, used to carry vials of each other's bloods on necklaces around their neck?
So that is J Lo, is that correct?
No, this is Angelina Jolie.
Oh, so J Lo is different than Angela. It shows my ignorance.
No, that's okay. She's gotten very popular of late. Mila Kunis again. Do you see their eyes? I wish they had close-ups here. I don't know who this is. But hazel eyes, I'm starting to understand, I think is a form of heterochromia. I mean, look at that. So some of them are really quite beautiful, but I believe this is how they identify people who have cult families. And this guy you would think, oh, maybe he just got punched in the eye and it's a little blood spot. But no, that's there all the time. Um, anyway, you get the point here. But yeah, lots of actors and actresses have these eyes, different color. Like, see, she's got a blue eye and like kind of a greenish brown eye. And this guy, sports guy, brown and blue. Another one, that another beautiful eyes, I will say. But yeah, this is how they identify each other as well. A physical marker, and it comes from near-death experience at a very young age. And I'm certain that that's why I was drowning elite children almost to death, so that they could get that near-death experience and open up their psychic abilities so that they could be better witches or whatever. But this was the another part. I forgot. We're gonna call him Borg. Borg man, because I don't know what else to call him. Said another surge of adrenaline. I guess I forgot to write this in the journal itself, but when I saw it, that's when I made myself get up and sketch him. And as after I sketched him, I realized, oh, do the Norwegian guy, because that was 3 or 4 days prior. So I did them both at the same time. So this is a man, a very bulky, squarish man, real, he was like a square. And then all of a sudden he has this metal triangle covering his eye, which wrapped around the back of his head. And I put metal plate a part of his body covering eye, Borg-like man, Pendleton tunnels. Now this is like 1975. And for some reason the Bionic Man kept popping into my head because I watched the Bionic Man as a kid. And one of his features was that he had a bionic eye. And after I look at this and right now I say to myself, I believe there's a pin right here going through his whole head, securing the back plate together, because it was a part of him. And I think that maybe this was like maybe the precursor to is trying to figure out how to make an actual bionic eye, even though it was done in fiction on TV. But for some reason, I just get the vibe that this was their preliminary step in trying to figure out how to make a bionic or robotic eye. I don't know why I think that. So this is Borgman. So so right now I've got four more whisper parrots just talking to you. And
So
then
this guy seemed to be a real person.
he was alive and moving. And I remember I saw him and I was shocked and I was staring at him. This is in the tunnels of Camp Pendleton,
It
staring at
seems
him. And he was kind of like "Arr!" at me. I was trying to capture his mouth.
so,
But I just couldn't. It was
so
just
is he's not secured like
no, just walking around. Just walking around. I think probably very unhappy. But he was just "Arr!" And he had those multicolored eyes. Green, brown, and blue. That was interesting when I did both these images. They both had these mixed colored eyes. I think his were green and brown. His were green, brown, and blue. So I didn't even put that together right now, but yeah, they're probably children of cult members. So there's that. And I'll
uh,
do the TED real quick. Let me find him. I was creating it just as you and I were about to get on. Oh, that's right. Let me close this guy out. And I believe I said to share sound because I knew I was going to play this. And you'll see my energy levels 2 hours ago and now. Good morning, everybody. Let
wow.
me turn this
Yeah.
light on. It's December 10th. I had a recall a couple days ago that a handler I had, my main handler, when I was about 8 or 9, getting out of training camp and going to do jobs that he was grooming me to be his lover, but he used to tell me that I was his woman and that this is how men and women make love. And, he would let me sit on his lap and kiss him, French kiss. And, basically, because I would get to hug him and cuddle him. And then, of course, we would quote unquote have sex. He would rape me and lift my hips up to match his height. And in doing so, jacked up my lower back. Now, I didn't remember any of the details of that. I just remembered 2 or 3 days ago that, we would kiss and love and hug and have that bonding, the trauma bonding. And I was fine for a couple days, just thinking about it, mulling it over in my head. And this morning I got up, felt great, after about half an hour of being up, and I started remembering a little more details, and all of a sudden my lower back started hurting. So I could barely, see right there, could barely bend over. And part of the memory, and I'm writing this down as I'm watching TV with my husband. I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Anyway, that he did it intentionally. He would lift my hips up and thrust super hard to instill pain there and say, my woman. And I think 10 or 15 minutes after that, I remember, through my life as I've had actual lovers as an adult, so part of something that would always turn me on is when they would grab my hips and use it for leverage. Personal, I know, but it's the truth. Anyway, and then on top of that, now my knee has started hurting. So my first thought was, once my husband goes to work, I think I'm going to go soak in a bath. And I got my counselor in about an hour and 10 minutes or something. And I was like, I better get out and hit Ted rather than soak in the tub and get my hair done, do my hair and all that so I can look good for, not necessarily for Jon for the sessions. As you'll see from my early sessions, I'm always disheveled, but once I decided to start airing them, I thought, well, let me make my hair pretty. It's a little bit of ego going on there, but so I'm like in this conundrum. Do I soak and just look disheveled, or try and make myself look pretty? But the first order of business is to another memory I had this morning, which I recorded, was after he would rape me, I was gonna say have sex, he would always be sure to have a sweet there for me. A cupcake, a piece of cake, a cookie, something, candy, whatever. And I thought, okay, great, more of the sweets programming. So anyhow, here we go. His name is Jack. Let me get your back. In my pajamas.
I'm not your woman. I am not your woman. No, I'm a little girl. How dare you?
God.
My fucking hips.
It's hurt a little bit swinging like that. Yeah.
I can imagine.
Hips. My knee. Quit fucking with my knee. Quit fucking with my knee.
Fucking like an 80-year-old.
But still, look at the mind-body connection.
Hurts my back. Hurts my back. Quit hurting me. Quit hurting me. Quit it. Quit fucking with my head. Having a hard time just bending over. I gotta squat to do stuff.
Now it's hurting while I'm watching.
Fucking hit it, Jack. Fuck you. Fucking, I'm 8. Not a woman. I'm not your woman. Anyone's
Like that was
woman.
good.
When I did that, I realized I was leaning on Jack. It's like, no, I'm not leaning on you.
Sick bastard. You and my dad.
Those are beautiful hits.
Fucking with my head and my body. Stop it. Stop.
I don't know why I giggle when I
Yeah.
watch these. My parts
Even
just
the
love
voice
watching
is
these.
agitating a little bit, but
Right.
it's my hope and my experience so far that give you just see my face that it will go away. And I know it will because other things have, but it's just definitely make yourself do TED when you don't feel like it, when you hurt or you're sick or whatever, because it comes from these pricks. Quit hurting me! Stop hurting me! Stop hurting me! Stop! Alright, well, that's a little better. Don't have to squat, at least I can bend.
Good.
It's
Of
the
course,
quickest
today's my
turnaround I've
trash
had so
day.
far.
So I had to
Is
bend
that right?
down to get all the little cans and take it outside and all that. So that was fun. Anyway. I think that's going to be it for today. My energy levels are low, and obviously you can hear my voice. But my back does feel better, not 100%. Dang, maybe I should do more.
Good for you. This is when it's going to happen. I can tell.
How dare you?
There you go.
How dare you? How dare all of you? Fuck you people. Smash your fucking heads out. Kill you. You suffer, motherfucker.
Good.
Stop hurting me. Stop it. Stop.
That's a good one.
Oh. Oh, that's way better. Okay, good. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop! Still sore, but there's no sharp pains anymore.
That's
Oh,
phenomenal.
that's good. I think I'll end off now. The sharp pains are gone, so I'll come do a little bit more. I feel a little bit in my knee still. It's funny because I could go all day yesterday. I was thinking, this is great. My knee feels normal. And now I got a little bit of pain back, but anyhow, little bits at a time, right? So, love you all. Take care. I ask God to protect and watch over all of you. Bind all the powers, principalities, and spiritual wickedness in all places and all planes of existence. Bind them from you. Block all astral projection to you. I ask God to put impenetrable shields of His holy love and His guardian, with His guardian angels standing guard, and to send you His warrior angels in times of spiritual warfare. I guess all I can say is when you don't feel good, you have pains, make yourself come out here. Even if you can't hit like I do, hit it, do what you can. It makes a difference. Okay? Love you all. Sorry for my low energy levels, but I'm sure you understand. You guys take care and have a great day and a great week. Bye.
So,
Well done. Well done.
yeah, quickest turnaround because in the beginning when I started with TEDS, it would be 4 to 6 hours when I would feel relief, and then it turned into like an hour later. And now, what was that? 5 minutes? It's like, wow, that's great. Like, so, um, but let me see, I don't
Well,
need.
it's Diana, the whole thing speaks to your dedication, and hence, as you're conveying then to, the people, the survivors that are watching.
You gotta make yourself do it.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you
It's
go.
because it's so easy to just go, oh, I'm injured. Let me just lay around and pamper it. And that's not the way. So I told you that I was going to dedicate this week to creating a website. So I went on to Wix
Wow.
and began. And this is what I've created
Wow.
so far. And it took a while for me to figure out what picture I should put there. I had just kind of abstract things, and then it dawned on me, duh, it's all my parts. Granted, there's only like, I don't know, 30 or 40 people here, but I think, so it's called Look Through My Eyes. Hello and welcome, memory recovery and healing for survivors of abuse and trauma. And because I love plants, and I found this, I thought
Oh,
this
this
was
is
kind of
beautiful.
neat with the seating area, very casual and comfortable, and
Wow.
colors and bright sunlight. I love that. I have to have sunlight and plants around me. It makes me happy. So I offer coaching services for survivors of abuse and trauma with a particular focus on SRA and emphasis on D.I.D. My aim is to assist individuals in memory recovery and the healing process. I provide a safe and support environment for survivors to explore their experiences and work towards healing. Now, this was an AI generated thing, and I just kind of tweaked it for me. And then this I did myself. I said, realizing that you cannot remember huge chunks of your life or an entire childhood is confusing. It is an indication of trauma. It can be a long and winding road, so to speak, but it doesn't have to be. I offer practical tools to recover those memories, understand and heal from the trauma, and find strength and empowerment in knowing who you fully are. I invite you to begin your journey
Good.
in the winding road, and I said, "Let's begin." And that's as far as I got. This took it's like 6 hours.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
As I started off going through the AI generated models. No, I don't like that. No, I don't like that. Change the colors, change the format. And I was zoning out, just zoning in and out. I was like, okay, what's happening here? And I realized because just sitting there having to stare at this little wheel that looks like an eyeball generating, and sometimes it takes 30 or 60 seconds. I'd be sitting there waiting, and I was just like getting hypnotized by it. And I thought, screw that, just get a blank form and start from scratch after like 2 hours of doing that. And then this is what evolved. I like it. It's clean and nice and simple and whatever. So yeah, I gotta build the next pages, and here's a little bit my bio, my story. And then I think I have another page that's, well, what is DID? Let's talk about that, and then,
Here's what just came to mind. Make sure you use the term coaching.
oh,
And
yeah, instead of counseling,
well, no, not even for no. Oh, okay. You know what? Now that right
because
because
I
you made
did change that, the
I hadn't
AI
even thought
generated
of that,
thing.
but the whole thing, here's what just came to mind. So that's important, especially you live in California, right? So they'll camp on that term. But
Yeah,
for me,
yeah,
what really just came to mind is you are going to be their coach. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just
I
very,
figured that out halfway through.
but it's a
Like I
beautiful.
can't claim to be a counselor because I'm not.
Uh, well,
So
yeah, that's an actual term, but the feel of it is they're going to be hiring a coach. It really is.
yeah, yeah,
That's so powerful.
yeah. So I thought I wanted your I just want you to see it. I'm happy with it. I like it a
It's
lot
excellent,
so
Diana.
far.
It's excellent. But I
Yeah.
hadn't even thought, I'm glad we also just talked about that, right? Because, yeah, I guess if you have the term counseling, that's getting close to something, holding yourself, it's sad,
Yeah, and
right?
I'm like I don't have those credentials, and nor do I want to have them. Melissa suggested, she sent me a voicemail and said, "Wow, I just watched one of your shows and you're really good at this. You should think about getting some sort of counseling credentials." And I thought, no, no way. I don't want to go in someplace because I know myself. I know that I like to fit myself or try to mold myself to what they think it should be.
That's
And
right.
I thought, no, they've not succeeded in all these years.
Mm.
It's even controversial what DID is.
Right. That's right.
And
Could
I
be a
thought,
waste of
well,
time.
I know I have experience and I'll be coaching people.
It's a
And
perfect, right?
but
That's
it
exactly.
took me like 3 hours to kind of sort all that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That little Wix generated thing, it was like hypnotizing me or something. It was very bizarre. So there's that.
The feel of that's exactly what you are, right? Somebody's hiring a coach. Like,
Yeah.
okay, help me through this, help me know, help me. So it's really,
How do you get started?
I don't care if you are licensed or not. For me, what's really coming out is I would have suggested that anyways, that term that they're hiring, people hire a life coach. This is very much
Yeah.
hands-on. You
Yeah.
are walking someone through
And am
this.
I certified? No, but I lived it. I'm doing it. I've discovered 450 parts in 13 months. My memories are filling in and filling out. I'm more empowered. I'm more confident. I don't have unexpected behaviors anymore. And if I do, I can flesh it out. As to where 5 years ago I was just a, insecure, whatever. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, you could even, healing and recovery coach or something, but the
Yeah,
idea,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, I get some parts want to show you this. This was the White House, the desk, and the Ice Queen, which I had called White House, Gerald Ford, and something else. Anyway, I had to sort all this out, but they they want to use lava to fill all the tunnels and then the White House and throw Jack into it and melt it all to hell. And then these two are like, we're gonna do all of that, but we want to add a bomb the White House too. So I was like, okay. But these yellow ones are the whisper parts that I don't have yet, so I can't really destroy their prisons yet. The Norwegian, and then one little part up here. Where are you? Oh, poppy flower. I don't know if that's actually her. It actually is. He'd say my little poppy flower. Oh, I'll show you this. This is kind of disgusting, but oh, I closed it out, darn it. When we were looking for images of poppy flowers, because that was the picture on the wall, the one part had the chrysanthemum that was orange. This part had a poppy flower that was red. Now, California's poppy is generally orange, but let's see. Poppy. Here she is. Now, I don't mean to laugh or chuckle, but what does this look like?
Yeah,
It's like a vagina.
yeah.
And it was real close to this, hanging on the wall there. And he would say, "Show me your little poppy flower."
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
This guy,
yeah.
we need to find this guy.
I know.
Honest.
So,
I'm at a
but
point
there's
now that I'm going to vigilante starts to
I know, but this is Penelope. She can think of herself like this now, and she likes it, so she's pretty. Well, she was a whisper part
Yeah.
because what you and I happened to touch on it in a session, and so that's where that came from. And until I logged the whisper part, I didn't even get. If I hadn't been looking for images, when I found the images, when I started to hear him say, "Show me your poppy flower." And I realized he was talking about my vagina. I was like, are you kidding me? Anyway, so there's that. But this, oh shoot, where are you? This is what's interesting. Do you remember how I had to combine the repressed and the wounded kids
Mhm.
together? We were trying to figure out where's the guards and who's the guards and what level. And then I did that video about the path to healing. And so it kind of cleared some things up for me. I should probably open that up too. And I realized each level kind of at a deeper level, it does a deeper thing. And so I took your categories. Where is it? Oh, that's the wrong one, darn it. This one. As I was looking through this, I noticed that at some point I put this here because this was my part that's easily startled. And I thought, well, that's the early warning system. You get startled and you're in the present time, but you're like, well, what's that about? What's what? And so the early warning system triggers the keymaster to keep everybody shut up.
That would probably also be the level where the panic attacks are.
Probably. Yeah, I've never had a panic attack, but yeah, PTSD,
There you go.
easily startled. We'll just put
So you can see then, just as
PTSD.
you noted on your map, right, how many people will turn to mental health professionals or doctors, and now they go the pharmaceutical route and everything's numbed out.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And you go into a zone state and you stay there.
there you go.
This is the first go away. You don't get to see, you don't get to remember.
That's right.
But what I did was I thought, well, I just took your thing again, put all of the traits for the, one support team, subconscious, and stretched them out and started moving stuff around. And I went, okay, let's ignore what it was. Parts, tell me how you think this works. And I know the print is a little small. I guess I'll do this. Was you had about 16 qualities in this top level and about, I think, 8 and 10 and 12. Anyway, whatever. It was funny because it wound up at 12 in each. Now, I don't know if that's my need for symmetry or what, but I thought, okay, how do you get carefree and naive? Where does this spiritually trusting and the atheist and how do these relate to each other? And so I just started playing around with it. I thought, okay, if you're spiritually trusting, you're going to be carefree and naive. It's at the point where they push you into a more intense level, you get thrown into a confusion.
That's right.
And then that confusion takes you, and you go into an even worse situation. You're doing these awful things, and you get spiritual guilt, which leads to the atheism.
Good.
Because you're
Good.
like, I can't confront being guilty to God, so I'm just not going to believe in God at all. So two categories turned into one here. And then I did the same thing with helpful. Well, what are you when you're helpful? What happens next? I was like, well, you start be sacrificial and you're caretaking. You want to help people. You put yourself out. Well, at the next deeper level, if you keep doing this over and over and over and screwing yourself over, now you're going to start to sabotage yourself. and you're preventing your success. Because if I'm giving all my time to the church bake sale and ignoring my husband, and it gets worse. And in the ritual arena, that's where at the more intense level, that's where you start blaming yourself and doing self-destructive things, or just, destructive things to other which you put onto yourself. So I thought, okay, that makes sense. And then detailed can move into being compulsive, which then you start you channeling anger because that compulsiveness is something,
That's right.
and you have to keep the secret. So at each more intense experience, these things devolve. So channel anger, keep secrets. So now we're into the self-harm and following orders. Keep the secrets, follow orders, blah blah blah. Okay, so submissive, same thing. Okay, I was thinking about this in terms of when Chris would just be insufferable. I'd be like, okay, fine, I'll do what you want, whatever. But then as it got more stressful, or in a ritual scenario, this is where okay, I'll do what you want. Okay, I'm going to align with you. I'm going to make myself believe what you're doing is the right thing. It's the this, it's the that. I'll give you that allegiance. Just fucking chill out. Leave me alone, kind of thing. But then that evolves down to, well, okay, now they're loving me for doing these awful things. So you get the trauma bonding, you're loyal to them, the Stockholm syndrome. So you're okay, that makes sense. And I've got all these little things, and I'm just kind of sliding them in, moving them around. What makes sense? And the parts are like, no. So now you're dutiful. And then, you're a little more stressed, you're overly responsible. Then, and this has made me think of Chris. Then you're into the workaholic. And in the ritual scenario, okay, I'm going to be immediate because to do your duty like a soldier and do it right and have that little compulsiveness with it. And now I'm a workaholic because I want you to shut up and stay off my back. And now I've just suppressed all that. I'm going to go numb. I'm going to be mechanical. I'm going to do whatever. It's a devolution down. So detached. You distract yourself with stuff. Then you get robotic and submissive, unquestioning. And then, I think that's how you become publicly functional because you've detached and moved away so much. You're just, okay, I can put on the show. That's what I got to do. And then this was a category, it was blank for a long time, but I was like, okay, you got the drill sergeant, you're putting these rules on yourself, you're doing it, you got to do the soldier slayer stuff, okay. And then they've got to compartmentalize the pain. I kept thinking about Chris and be soldiering, and I thought, well, what is before a drill sergeant? And they're like, well, the obligations you have to do in life, just in life, or in a ritual, or in whatever. So if you could think of a different descriptor, that would be helpful. This one I had to
I
make up
think you
too.
nailed it. Right, a sense of obligation, duty.
Yeah, because okay, I got to do these things. Now I'm going to really put it in on myself. And now
And
you know,
okay, even
they're
maybe
going to
add
suppress you
word, but you've
more.
got single word, but maybe duty and obligations.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But I think you
Duty,
nailed it.
obligations. Okay. So then I went, okay, well, you had this
Oh,
spontaneous
because remember
response.
what that jerk, the sergeant and others would tell you, don't you
Do
want to
your
be a good
duty, follow the rules. Don't you want to
and
do the
don't
right
right and don't you want to
thing?
be a good patriot?
Yeah, yeah. And I think if you think about it in actual basic training, they say, well, these are your duties and obligations. This drill sergeant's going to drill it into you. Now you're a soldier or slayer or both. And as you're a soldier and slayer, you have to push down and compartmentalize the emotional pain, the physical pain, the mental pain, the spiritual pain. So I thought, okay, that makes sense. Family and friends, because you have them, you're conscious. you get a little bit of stress. Maybe you can be irresponsible because you have this family there to support you, or you think you do. And that turns into, okay, now we're in ritual and I should have this, I should be able to be irresponsible. You're my family and friends, but now I'm desperate for connection with you. This is a stressful situation, uh, you know, but you don't get it because you're doing to each other all these nasty things. And then that's where betrayal comes in. I was thinking about with me and Angie and Mary. And it should have been sweet and nice and protective and safe. And I should have been in a stressful situation. I should have been able to be spontaneous and responsible because you're there to back me up. But you're not because we're in this awful situation. And I'm desperate for this. I'm not getting it. And now, because you've been a bitch to me, I'm going to be a bitch to you.
Okay, now, this is where the diagnosis of borderline personality disorder comes in. A hot, cold, back, forth, I hate you, don't leave me. So this is
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
that's exactly where, so you could put in either one of those,
Here or here?
yeah, that one right there, the third one, the early warning system, that could be quote unquote emotional reactivity. And then the wounded child, that's the borderline personality disorder.
Okay.
So psychology has come along and called it a borderline personality disorder, but you have just described that internal dynamic. So it's very much all or nothing.
Yeah, I mean, because as the stress levels increase, things change. That these are the normal, natural things, which, okay, you get a little bit of stress in life, it should maybe, okay, go here, but because it's being pushed harder and harder and harder and harder, yeah, it goes to an extreme. And then this was okay, I thought, well, playful, flirtatious, because, when you're with your partner in a normal relationship, you're playful with each other. You get
Wait,
flirtation.
Diana, I'm sorry. Ready? Okay, this is
Yeah.
very interesting. You could, so maybe I
So,
confounded
so
something.
these are people who don't have trauma float around right here.
Uh,
Maybe dip down into here, but people with trauma
there you go.
have
So
all
I
this.
may have just confounded. So toy with this idea. So here I just suggested, which is still true, borderline personality disorder. There could be another, right? Okay, there could be another category. What diagnoses go with this? So if somebody goes into a
Oh,
doctor and they're in that mode, they're going to be diagnosed with this. So we've got compulsive disorders, we've got, you know,
oh, right. Okay.
dependent
So,
personality disorder. So you just kind of toy with that because here I
well,
suggested,
no, I already did because over here, you described it as the substitute and comforter. And I thought, well, I used food and substances, food and
there you
weed.
go.
And I thought, well, some people escape into exercise. So I put food and activities and substances. But you're right. These can be, where's compulsive? This could be
Yeah, so
I
maybe
don't know.
just in toying with it, what
Well,
would
I don't know what all these disorders are. I mean, yeah, I would need your,
I can help you with that as time goes on, right? We'll just
yeah, yeah. Well, I'll send this to you and you can certainly add in there.
okay, there you go. There you go. Because then what maybe the survivors there, I'm just, this is just off the top of my head right now. Um, we could even say presenting problem or presenting issue up top. And so this is what somebody would go to the doctor for
Oh,
and be
here at this
diagnosed with
level.
and be diagnosed with. Um,
Okay. Here, what'd you say presenting?
Yeah, I'm thinking way up, even the support team, you could have this
Oh,
as sort of the very top category. There you go. So that when people think of what are my issues? Well, I don't know, I'm compulsive or I wrestle with diets or I've gone to the doctor and, I'm depressed or he's labeled me, I've got a diagnosis of borderline personality disorder, whatnot. So that's sort of their mindset. I'm
Yeah.
categorized. This is my thing. I've
Yeah.
panic disorder. But then under the surface,
Yeah.
then
So, yeah, this
so
would
this could
be
be presenting problem and diagnosis,
presenting. Okay. Person presenting. Oh, wait, say that again.
or just presenting problem, because that's a term that's used in the counseling field. What's the presenting problem?
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. See, I don't
Presenting
know these.
problem uh, and possible diagnosis,
Okay.
so that people are walking around at that level saying, "Well, here's my issue. I have borderline personality disorder. I have depression, or I've..."
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Like,
they're used to thinking in those terms.
so where were we? Oh,
Oh
so
yeah,
this would be, oh,
like
shoot,
like
these letters aren't right. Borderline personality.
there you go. So we could even put even prior to that rapid changes in mood for that for borderline personality disorder. So the thing that causes them to either self medicate or seek help is they have these rapid shifts in mood, emotionally reactive, and so they finally went to the doctor and he diagnosed them as borderline personality disorder.
Okay. Okay.
So
And this
that's very
would
interesting
be,
because as you're then working with people, you'll have it's really your symptom. That could be another one. Symptoms and presenting problem, or I don't know, or you're helping them think in terms of, okay, these are just symptoms, maybe symptoms colon, but then toy with that. But that's really interesting because as people come to you, as they're listening to your presentation, this is what they're thinking about. Well, I have
yeah.
this, and now you're helping them say, okay, no, we're going to take a journey here that you have been misdiagnosed, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but yeah, I would definitely need your help with figuring this
There
out.
you go. I'll
I don't
fill it.
know, but like yeah, these would be just compulsions, any kind of
There
compulsion.
you are.
Or
What's called compulsive.
self-harm, these would be cutters.
Okay, that's right.
I
So we
don't,
could we could call that, yeah, compulsive disorders and suicidal ideation, right? So I'll throw in the different psychological terms. And this, as a matter of fact, I did the series on the dangers of um, the red flags of sexual abuse that are being reframed by the trans pushers
yeah.
to keep people away from looking at this. So if you take a kid who's been perped on, you want to be able to sit down long enough with them to explore. But that's why they've come up with the anti-conversion therapy laws, which means you just have to affirm their own self-diagnosis. You can't investigate. And so all these actual issues are being missed because the trans movement comes along and basically tells therapists, you no gatekeeping, no asking questions, just pass them along.
Right, yeah. So I like with this category, I thought, well, Chris and I can get playful, might flirt with each other, seductive sexual control. Now, this would, I think, just be normal, everyday people
Okay,
because
yeah,
you kind of dip in somewhere else when you get sexual. I think it's at a subconscious level, you give yourself permission.
yeah, yeah.
But when you're in the ritual or the abuse,
You
this
could
is
even
where,
put fetishes under that, sex addiction fetishes,
oh, here,
BDSM, kink,
here.
yeah.
Or I put deviancy. So,
Okay, but I would also put BDSM and kink in there because there's a whole push in psychology now, reframing stuff, saying that, well, this could be a healing thing, doing BDSM for survivors. That's how they
yeah.
work
Yeah,
with
yeah,
trauma.
yeah. Sexual deviancy.
And
Okay,
I'm
good.
not very popular in the world of psychology because I call these people out saying, "What in the world? No, sir, you should never suggest to a client to who's been traumatized to get into BDSM.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And I mean, I hate to say it, but that's where Chris and I flirted around with that.
Well, yeah, no, but
The
doesn't it make sense how
seductive
it would?
sexual control, but in these rituals, they take you way past where you get immoral. You have to be in control, calculating, compulsive, anesthetize yourself,
Yeah.
all that. So it's a devolution of, I think, a natural. I think these are the God-given gifts
Okay, there we
that
go.
under stress you cope and it's not so bad, but the abuse is what it throws the confusion in there where you start believing the perpetrators, and the worse it gets, now you're getting into the twisting zone.
There you go. You could even write under the playful and genuine bonding. So really what you're doing is you're helping people get back to what should have been normal. So meaning what's the goal? How do I know when I'm healed? Well, I can spiritually trust. I can be helpful without
Right.
guilt, meaning I'm out of choice. I'm
Yeah.
detailed and
Yeah.
it's a very I can be relaxed and detailed. Uh,
Hmm.
Instead of submissive, that may be, we could even put helpful in there. Supportive. How about helpful and supportive along
Where?
in that
Oh,
box?
here. Here.
No, right there, right there. So here it's,
Oh, here's helpful.
okay, so how about under submissive, you could put supportive, right? Because submissive then can have mixed connotations. Um,
Yeah, I want to.
Maybe submissive could go right there in that box.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, because I wasn't, that
Well,
makes more
whatever
sense.
you had, what
Yes, I
did you
want to
have in there? I
support
think that
you.
was fine. What did you have in there previously, Diana?
Follow the rules.
Okay, yeah. Follow the rules slash submissive.
Okay.
I really like follow the rules.
Well, because and they're rules that, a jackass is giving you, but I don't want to argue with you. I don't want this to escalate, so let me just submit.
That's right. And what's interesting is you can see how somebody who the survivor who goes to church, so the -1, -2 category, that's
Yeah,
all going
these,
to kick in church. And church leaders that let's say you have a legitimate church, they're not going to know that the
right.
person that becomes really active in the church is not doing it by choice. And so for let's say for a legitimate church, a church leader, who's legitimate, they need to be able to see that if they have somebody that jumps right in and is just uh, doing also is there every time the doors open in the church, that you may actually be unknowingly um, kind of re-traumatize this
Yes,
person,
yes,
right? The most spiritual thing they can do is be helped to just rest rather than get involved, because churches are always trying to involve people.
yes, yes. And
Oh,
I
I
think
like
this will
that.
just indicate stress levels.
Danny, that's that differentiation in colors. That's great.
Yeah, and then this, and I will say that this, all bets are off when you get to the demonic
Oh
level.
gosh, yeah, yeah.
All of these become irrelevant because you just go into, I, I don't know. It, yeah, it just evolves this way, with the exception of this category. Okay, you're willful and you test limits. You begin rebelling. Then you're resistant, looking for escape. You got child part that wants to get help and stop the abuse by disclosing. And I think that moves into this righteous indignation and fury that it doesn't get expressed because all this can't let it.
That's right.
Maybe God himself will come down and express it, but this piece of God within you, it doesn't come out until you heal.
That's right. That's right.
Otherwise, they would just kill you.
That's right.
So I'm not sure. I don't think that these just automatically go down into these categories. This is why I didn't put any arrows. But here I thought, I don't know, this child part is screaming and screaming to God, and he comes and starts handling stuff. So this is kind of separate and apart from this, but yeah, I just wanted you to see this and yeah, add to it and help me fine
Excellent.
tune it and all that. But yeah, this is great. Cutters, right? So I'll send this to you and feel free to fill out and fill in whatever.
Okay.
But it was funny because the categories that you had, I think I only added two, which you helped me rename, which is fine. But it wound up with 12 exact categories.
Huh?
And I thought, isn't that fascinating? Now maybe there's more and we just haven't thought of it or whatever, but you kind of nailed it. It's just they were sometimes not in the at the right level.
That's right. That's right.
So it's like, well, yeah, this evolves. Like my parts are going, no, yeah, and we're playful with a good person and you can have sex and be flirtatious, but it's when they put that bad pressure on you, the abuse, that things shift and change.
Well, and now that I think about it,
This
you probably,
natural God-given thing
that's
under
right.
stress, under abuse, under ritual, and now you got demons coming at you.
You're the perfect person to speak to this because you probably then experientially see how Scientology capitalized upon what was already a propensity.
Hmm. And I don't know that Scientology ever, I mean, I never got into the deep, deep levels of auditing, but
But I'm thinking like
they would work here and dip into here a little bit.
the expectations they put on you, the workaholism.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Do your duty, be responsible, you know, be detailed, help other, yeah, and trust this spiritual path. And you don't have to worry because we're taking care of you. And, this is where I got with them into a confusion. I'm like, no, no. So, yeah, I know it's 12 or if you got someone waiting, but I was like, I needed your input. So I'll send this to you. And what I did was these are just I blanked everything out, put the new categories in, and I need to refill them out for all my parts.
Wow.
Because I think now it makes sense. So over here at the repressed, well, I'll start here. No, this is consciousness, so there's no guards. But at the subconscious level, I have a guard, the one who is startled, or not startled, but it's a known event which is incomplete and confusing. I always knew my dad kicked me at the beach, but I didn't know anything surrounding it. So this is kind of a guard where you get just that snippet, but nothing more.
Right. That's right.
And then this went into, okay, here's the early warning system. And we may remember it, but let's see, I see someone on TV doing a roundhouse kick. Well, it's going to startle me, give me PTSD, maybe panic attacks. He gets in contact with the keymaster, says, lock everything down, lock it down, right? And then you get to the wounded kids, if you can get past them. And then you've got the guards, the upsetting and the disturbing. And then over here in the demonic, the horrifying. So it lines up with this, with the
Excellent.
exception that the keymaster and the kids are at lower levels than these guys. The guys with the higher levels of trauma, him being the highest levels, are the ones that keep you out. But if you can get through them, then you can see the other stuff. Well, actually, he's the highest now that I think about it. He's the one that's hanging out in the torture chamber,
Yeah, that's right.
right? So he's the highest levels. But
Yeah.
so maybe I need to put the key. keymaster, which I put here because he protects all these guys.
Yeah,
Oh,
let me run
that
to the
makes
restroom.
sense.
Let me run to the restroom real
Sure, sure,
fast
sure. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I still want to come back so we can finish. My coffee is working, so
Yeah.
I'll be
Yeah.
back in a
Do
flash.
what you got to do.
Hold on a second.
Just realized what happens here
Yeah,
is the early warning system kicks in. You get startled, which would be the subconscious level. Yeah. But if the stressors are strong enough, that's going to take you down to the repressed kids level, which is the PTSD. And if that doesn't get resolved, I think you'll move into the panic attacks, which is the wounded children, which are all these over here and this here. But it triggers the keymaster to shut all this down
there you go.
and sends you here dealing with all this. Are you publicly functional with PTSD? No, you know, and I'm not going to look at this because it's horrendous. So I'm going to go into panic attacks because I'm feeling this, but because the keymaster won't let me see the lead up or the wind down. So it all gets stuck right here.
There you go. There you
You're
go.
conscious of it and subconsciously reacting by being startled, but the keymaster says, no way.
Okay.
No way are you going to touch these kids. You need to deal with this stuff. This guy first, this guy second, this guy third. And if you can go there, then you can have the keys and open the cages. That's my experience.
There you go. And that's where, Diana, you have a PhD, right? The reality,
I don't even know about that, but it's just,
well, the reality is nobody knows this stuff like you, right? Meaning survivors have, for the
and so,
rest of it, I may know this stuff well, but come on, it's me theorizing. And that's not a bad
yeah, but
term. I'm on
I'm
the
like,
outside looking in,
well, in
but
my
you've lived
parts,
it.
because I have so many parts and I've had like what, 5 or 6 full complete memories
That's
now.
right. That's
It,
right.
it makes sense. And I can see like Chris can't go to Walmart. He just won't go into the store. He will, and he'll be on guard. He's, not startled, but he's already dived into the PTSD. And if something else is in there to trigger him, he doesn't really have panic attacks, but he'll have beers to wash it away
That's right.
and
To numb it,
go
self-medicate.
numb rather than, and then the panic attacks will turn into attacking outward as
That's
well.
right. That's
So
right.
yeah, this is the system that keeps you from all the rest. This notifies the keymaster, which those kids are triggered, and he's saying, "No way, do you get to come in?" So yeah, that makes sense.
Batten down the hatches right there.
And so I just made another, tab here with this. I'll send you the whole thing.
Yeah,
And you can, feel free to fill in whatever, add details. Um, it's just an Excel document. It works just like Word. You can move these things around and stuff. But so yeah, I was like really excited when I got this done, and I went, yeah, that's kind of how it works. The stressors push you down, push you down, push you down, but when you get here, all bets are off. All of this mixes up together so that you can just make it through. You know what I mean?
that's right.
So, yeah,
Excellent work.
you got the complete overwhelm, do whatever you have to do to survive.
That's right.
To do. All right, cool. Yeah, I just wanted your feedback on this because I was like, this makes sense.
Well done. Well, well,
And I
I
got to thinking about something too, how Melissa said that she thought that you were a narcissist and dangerous. Now, I don't think she does anymore.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
thought, a narcissist would never be okay with me taking their stuff and changing it. A narcissist would say, no, no, this is how it has to be. It's what I made up with, it's what I came up with. And so I'm like, you're nowhere near a narcissist in any way, shape, or form. Because I was thinking, okay, if Angie made that and I went in there and started moving and changing things, she'd lose her mind because her way is the only way. And so I just want to scream at Melissa, the man is not a narcissist, and here's proof right here. Like,
yeah.
and obviously I'll edit this before
She
I
she
share it.
really she was suckered in by
She
a
was. And
narcissist.
she said, well, and he's dangerous. And I'm like, dangerous how? Well, I'm afraid he's going to come after me. And after we had our talk and resolve things, and I said, I just want you to, I said, I just want you to know, I did talk to John about all of this. I said, so let's see if he attacks you or not. You haven't. I said, he's got bigger fish to fry. He doesn't gonna care about you.
And just, little by little.
So
Once
it's
this
like
thing
I'm
is
gonna
out,
throw
but
it in her face.
yeah,
But
she'll just have to, hopefully it'll be a time when the thing is published.
I
uh,
know, yeah.
It'll just be hopefully a time of self-reflection, because if anybody should know better in terms of what are the tactics that deep state or evil people do, she lived with the guy that put out information, but look how easily and quickly she was taken in by.
I know. And I just booked a flight. I'm going to go there in February for a week. I thought I don't want to miss two sessions and I don't want to miss whatever. I need my TED Talks. But I thought, a week off will be okay. And I'll just take a stick and beat the ground if I need to.
There we go.
Like,
Yeah. No, we'll just, it'll be an opportunity for growth once she sees it.
and I think I'm going to bring this stuff up to her and say, what do you think now? And
Yeah.
hopefully by February, you've got something up and going.
Good work. Well, that's interesting then.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're running late.
That's, well, let me pray and then, we'll
Move on. Okay.
okay. Lord, thank you. Thanks that Diane and I can continue to work together. Lord, continue to oversee just her work as she's sitting there and trying to really collect her thoughts and get a feel for the whole flow of everything. Lord, thank you for the parts, their willingness to step forward, because they are the ultimate ones that are going to help her put things together, and then that'll be used to really help others come out of this. So thank you that they're all willing to work collectively as a team. And Lord, thank you that what Satan meant for evil, that you are going to turn this around and use it for good. What Diana is doing it. Lord, it's amazing to think that as evil and creatively evil as all these perps, including Lily and Jack, and to think that they are now Diana and all the inside parts, that they are actually um, dismantling MK Ultra. So what an amazing thing, Lord. So thank you for being with them, for preserving them through all that living hell. But now that they're out, they're free. Thank you for overseeing their important work. So just continue to give her the energy, the fortitude, and just the ability to really bring her focus to bear. And Lord, continue to work on Chris. Lord, thank you for your faithfulness, and just work on those areas where he can finally open up, and he'll be able then to even learn from Diana this process. So just continue to work on him. So thank you that we can pray for him. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. And God watch over and protect you and Susan and all your work.
Well, thank you.
You're a blessing. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Diane.
All right,
Okay.
go. I'm keeping you from somebody.
Okay. Well, we'll plan on Friday.
Okay, have a good week.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Lord of lords, King of kings. Alleluia. Glory, glory, great majesty. Alleluia.